the industry and in general on the blog. We talk about the industry. We a lot of times talk about outside of interactive. The topic today is our philosophy on marketing and thought leadership. Just generally speaking, the world of marketing is obviously undergoing a big change, big shift. Some people call it pull marketing as opposed to push marketing, whereas 10, 15, 20 years ago, the whole advertising and marketing world was all about we are X and shoving your message down people's throats and billboards and shoving and screaming your message from anywhere you can. And today it's more about listening and hearing the needs of your potential customers, your target audience, and providing value. So that's our philosophy in marketing here at Interactive, and I'm just going to talk about what that means on a practical level and how that manifests itself in our day-to-day work here at the company. So thought leadership is the new, black, or whatever you want to call it. It's the new thing, right? Everyone's talking about it. There are different words for it, right? There are a lot of different buzzwords: new media, social media, thought leadership, authority, whatever you want to call it. It really all means the same thing. It means stop self-promoting, stop talking about yourself all day long, and provide value. Give me a reason to like your page or like your brand, right? I think when Facebook came up with the term like, their intention was not for me to say, please like me, but was, we'll give you something, and you will like us, and therefore you will click like, not the other way around. Not that I'm liking you to do you a favor, and maybe I'll actually like your content. I like your content, I like what you're about, so I'm clicking like. It's kind of gotten a little bit, it's changed since then, but the concept really is, whereas sales, for example, is very short term, right? You make a phone call, you sell your product, you make a sale, you convert, right? You make a conversion. Marketing in general, specifically thought leadership, is long term, right? It's not something that you're going to see the ROI, from today to tomorrow, or even in a month or 2 months. And it's not something that you can necessarily quantify ever, really. How do you measure, brand loyalty? How do you measure thought leadership? But it's something that you can see. It's not necessarily tangible, but you can feel it and you can see it. There's always feedback, which can tell you that you're doing a good job, but again, it's long term. It's about providing real value. It's about giving and not taking, right? The ROI comes in spades, right? At the end of the day, when you're providing and you're giving something, you will provide enough value, hopefully, that your audience will make it very clear that they want to give back. And that does come, that is quantifiable, right? You can, provide value on a blog and then, have a sign up now and people sign up and there's traffic. Those things are quantifiable. So it's not true to say there's no there's no metric at all. Somebody once said if you're not measuring, you're not marketing. I don't know if I agree with that statement, but the truth is, there is a way to quantify it, but it's really about providing value. The value could be in the form of content, it could be in the form of whatever it is, pictures, text, videos, audio, everybody does their own thing, but it's about providing value. And the goal is to build a brand, to build a name. And that name should be an authority in your space, whatever your space may be, right? If you're a company that builds Barbie dolls, then you should own that space. You should become an authority, a thought leader in that space on the web. You should own, and that again manifests itself in many ways. You search for Barbie, and on Google, it should show up. You think of Barbie, you should think of that company, whatever it is. And so the concept is become an authority on your space. And in the long run, it's not about generating customers only, but generating customers that are loyal to you. In other words, if you're driving on the highway and you see a billboard and for whatever brand, and you then convert and you buy that product, tomorrow when that company's competition calls you and offers you a better rate, you really have no reason not to go over to the competition because I have no loyalty, I have no emotional connection to this company. I bought their, whatever it is, their music player or whatever it is, I got a better price, I'll buy the other one. But if you're reading a company's blog, or for example, for 5 years every day, and you're loving what they're doing, you have an emotional connection to that brand. If you reach out to that brand on Twitter and they respond to you right away, and they, whatever question was, they answer your question and they meet that need, you have an emotional connection with that brand. And that's something that traditional marketing, that a billboard can never really achieve. And so that's really, generally speaking, what thought leadership means, and that's kind of the strategy that we adopted here at Interactive. So we're going to drill down a little bit and say what that really means. It sounds great. So we know to build a brand, you have a lot of different components to build a brand, but what does that really mean? Now what? What do we do to build that brand? So I think the foundation in my opinion, of all this, again, buzzwords like social media and all these things. You're not, people think, Twitter, I'm writing what I'm eating all day, I'm writing when I'm going to the bathroom. No, that's not really what Twitter's about. If anybody that spends any time on Twitter sees that's not what it's about. But at the foundation of all these things is content. It's called content marketing, it's called many different things. But a blog, when you're providing value on a regular basis consistently, not about yourself, but you're providing value to whoever's reading your blog on a consistent basis, they know they can come into your blog every day and read something interesting. It might be a funny video, it might be a cute picture, it might be a great analytical post about, even sometimes mentioning competitors. There's nothing wrong with that. You build up, again, a name as a thought leader. And so I took a few screenshots here from a site called TechMeme. You guys have all heard of TechCrunch and all these big blogs. TechMeme is an aggregator of all the leading content in the technology world. So when there's breaking news, TechCrunch writes about it, and Mashable writes about it, and GigaOM writes about it, and everyone writes about it. It's aggregated here. This is the title, and these are the sources. And I couldn't fit in all the screenshots of all the times we were on TechMeme, but if you look here, just really quickly, you'll see the other sources that appear next to us. Read Write Web, The Guardian, The Verge, Ad Age, All Things Digital, that's Wall Street Journal, VentureBeat, CNET, and the interactive blog is next to all these people, right? Reuters, and Android News, and Gadget, and Ad Age, and all these tremendous publications that specialize in content. This is what they do. They don't have a product. All they do is, their content is their product. And they're clearly thought leaders, and having our name next to them isn't just okay, our name's cute, but this positions us, right? It positions us as a leader in the mobile content space. Now, again, when you sell your product, somebody might buy, sales is sales, but when you're providing content and you're recognized as a thought leader in the mobile space, long term, that provides great value for our brand. So this is something, we're on TechMeme quite often, probably close to 20, 30 times already, which is pretty unheard of for a product company and not a content company. So we continue to write the blog about the industry. When there's announcements, we write about ourselves on the blog. But the blog is it's a great weapon, a great tool for us to kind of continue to build our brand. And I highly recommend you check it out once in a while. Shameless plug. Maybe, what was it, a year and a half ago? Something like that, maybe 2 years ago, I don't know exactly when it was. In the marketing department, we took a good look at the content space on the web, and we saw there was a trend that was beginning, this thing called infographics. They were very, very hot. Everyone was trying to do it, and they were getting great coverage because it's easily consumable, right? You look at this and say, it looks great, it's great content, and we said, let's do this, we can do this. And so, thanks to our world-leading designer, Shani, and I don't say that with sarcasm, even in the slightest bit, we created infographics on a monthly basis. Again, not about ourselves. I took 5 examples, but there were many, many, many more. And we started publishing them on a monthly basis. In the beginning, I would do my regular PR thing. Hey, TechCrunch, here's an infographic. Hey, Mashable, here's an infographic. It got great coverage. It got to the point that the industry, the entire market, loved these infographics so much because they were really nice, but more importantly, they were great content. That on a monthly basis, they would reach out to me and say, hey, where's your infographic? In other words, again, you're providing value to me. You're not a PR agency pitching your product, right? You're providing real value, so give it to me. I want it. Their job is to write good content. I'm giving them good content, so they would reach out to us on a monthly basis. This happened many, many times, and it got insane coverage. More coverage than you could ever expect from a little small startup in Petah Tikva, in mobile advertising. It got amazing coverage, and again, it did its work. Until today, people are saying to me, I remember those infographics, and there were a lot of them, and it did amazing, amazing work. And that was that. And then it became such a great tool that, like everything else, everyone started to copy it, and everyone started doing it, and everyone started doing their own infographic, and kind of got a little bit old and annoying. And so we shifted and we adopted to the market. We said, okay, well, nobody wants infographics, and literally, TechCrunch writers would say to me, we don't publish infographics anymore. By policy, no more infographics. I said, okay, no problem. We'll move on to the next thing. And so we did. We coined the term data punch. We'll see if it catches on. By the way, infographic was a term that someone coined. Infographic, it's a term that everyone knows now, but it was coined by someone. So we sat for many hours discussing what we're going to call the next iteration of our infographics. We decided on the word data punch, and we'll see what happens. But the bottom line is, from my experience, journalists like to be fed on a silver spoon. And so we said, listen, we have data, and we'll get more data, and let's feed these journalists what they want. Let's give them a data punch, right? Really quick data, fast, what they need, and back it up with real data. So that's what we started doing. Every month we're doing data punches now. This was last month about the video, and we sent it out. Many people responded and liked it, and hopefully we'll get more traction. It's not as sexy as infographics, but it's still a great resource for journalists, and we're cautiously optimistic that it will take off. We're working on the second one right now, not the second one, third one. So that's our new weapon. Noga is working on. Actually, before we did the infographics, we did some sort of a white paper. If you're not familiar with a white paper, it's basically the same concept, providing good data to the industry, but not in a visual manner, but more textual based, long textual and a report basically. Millennial media does this, and they get great coverage. A lot of our competitors and a lot of our partners do this. It's a great tool. So we did it then. At the time, 2-3 years ago, it wasn't so, people didn't love it. Then we moved to infographics, but Noga's doing insanely professional work now on a monthly basis. It's again, highly recommended that you read these things. She prepares reports on our competition, about the market, and it's really done very, very well. And so she's working on a white paper now. I for one, am looking forward to that, but highly recommended that you read Noga's work.
And help doing it.
Oh, and right. She's getting, honestly, like she needs data from people in the company, so kindly cooperate. Speaking of data punches and white papers, our target audience for this, while it is press and it is the end user, and it's interesting to read, millennials and all the different reports that come out. One of the main perks of providing data is our analysts. Again, speaking of ROI, you're not going to see coverage the next day, right? But we're building real relationships with all these leading analysts and many more. Using, by the way, social and using the different tools. They all know about us. We have briefings. We often meet them there, and we talk to them on a regular basis, and they eat this stuff up for breakfast. They love white papers. This is what they do, right? They sell their reports for thousands of dollars, and their reports are based on things like white papers. So again, the goal of all these white papers and data punches is twofold. On the one hand, yes, it is press and it is coverage, but even more importantly, some might say it's the analyst. And so we design them and we write them and create them with them in mind. And so far we've had some great successes. I think that we've met with companies that their sole purpose, their job is to do analyst relations. And they build relationships with analysts, and they get you briefings. And we've been doing it here in-house, and we've had moderately very good success. And I think it's a great thing. And the analysts love what we're doing, and they're asking us for more on a regular basis. So we're going to continue that. And that's, again, thought leadership, right? When Gartner mentions your name in one of their reports, it's not just, he just meant, it's a huge deal. Not only for eyeballs, not only for people that see it, but it's a branding thing, right? In other words, millennial media, you know that name, right? You think of AdMob, but I'm sure all of you have heard, talk to just, long-tail developers. You mentioned the name, you mentioned the word mobile advertising right away. AdMob, right? It's a branding thing. It's not necessarily, they have more traffic. It's a branding thing. It's a thought leadership thing. And so that's our goal with all these things that we're doing, analysts included. Obviously, PR is a killer tool for brand awareness and for thought leadership. And again, PR agencies in general. What do PR agencies really do? I mean, what do they really do? What do? They build relationships with journalists, and then journalists, they pitch them. They send them their press releases. Then they write about them, or they don't write about them. To be honest, as a quote-unquote blogger myself, no one really likes PR agencies. Because all they're doing is pitching you all day. You don't like someone who's selling to you. Our strategy on PR isn't the same. Our strategy is we're building relationships with these journalists. We're providing value. When I was in San Francisco on vacation, I met all the TechCrunch writers. Every single one of them told me they read our blog religiously on a regular basis, which is, again, unheard of, right? TechCrunch, the leading publication in technology writing in the world, is reading the blog of some startup in Petah Tikva. It's funny, but it's unbelievable. And the reason they're reading is because we're not sitting there saying, we're the greatest, use our product like many other companies do. We're writing good content. I try to write good content, but we're writing valuable content for them. They enjoy it, and so they're reading it. And I think, again, that's thought leadership. And so, for example, a lot of startups struggle to get PR, right? Some companies have truly exciting stories to tell. They've raised, there's some people raising hundreds of millions of dollars, some people, strategic partners is whatever it is, and they're struggling to get coverage. Why? Because they don't know these journalists. They're paying PR agencies $10,000 a month to send an email to TechCrunch saying, can you write about this, right? for us, when we raised $3.5 million, which is great for us, but it's, as the industry goes, $3.5 million, right? It's not $150 million. Google didn't buy us, right? It's not every single blog wrote about it. Every single one of them. We got insane coverage. And people came over to me and they're like, how did you do that? $3.5 million. The answer is because, we read TechCrunch every day. I comment there. I give them typos when they make mistakes. I write and tweet about interesting things. We have a strategy of thought leadership and, again, providing good content. We're not asking, we're giving, right? And so at the end of the day, when we do ask, I didn't ask, but when we make an announcement, they're all over that because it's not a PR agency, it's interactive. They're my buddy, right? I read their blog. That's how it was. That's period. There's no other explanation. And so, again, that is what we're about. That's in our DNA.
With your permission, key ingredients of a good PR. PR is like a package that you serve to the blogger or to the analyst or the reporter. So, what's a good PR? Good PR is a great story. And a great story can come from a great product. And also backed with a quote or a testimonial coming from one of our partners. So this is what we always aim to do. For example, Video in a Box. It's a great story, it's a great product. Hopefully we'll have a follow-up story with a great partner or partners who can comment on that. So this is what we always try. Other than the channels that we work with, we need good stories, good products, good things to talk about. And then the industry will take them no matter who you are.
Thank you. I just also want to clarify something. When you were talking, I was thinking about it. I want to be very clear. I said this in the beginning, but this is important to understand. I'm not saying that traditional marketing is irrelevant or ineffective. That is completely not true. This kind of marketing, thought leadership, is a support system for that kind of marketing, right? There's no question that you have to measure conversions. There's no question that SEO and PPC and all these old school marketing tactics, not old school, but I'm saying, what I mean, real hardcore metrics. Those are very important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do those things. Product marketing, super important, right? And we have our email marketing campaigns, we have our newsletters, we have things that we do that are outside of quote-unquote thought leadership, right? We do those things, and we believe in those things, and we're going to continue to do those things. But thought leadership, in the long term, is very effective, and it yields a lot of results. So that's really our focus. Now, when we talk about Twitter, you all might know, I'm not sure if you know, but I'm a little bit of a sicko when it comes to Twitter. I have a little bit of a problem, and the reason is I've found while there are other platforms that have their advantages. Twitter, in my opinion, is really truly, and I hate this word, a revolutionary platform for many reasons, and maybe we'll talk about that at a different time. But the bottom line is, if you look at our Twitter account, many Twitter accounts of companies and people, what they do is they follow a lot of people so that they'll follow back, so that they'll boost up their numbers. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is they'll use some spammy tool to boost up their numbers and get more followers. Hands down, I can say this 100% confident, there is no player in the mobile monetization space across the board anywhere in the world, including Google, including AdMob, including that has even half as many followers as we have on Twitter. How many mobile have? 2 or 3, I think, 1,000. I have to check though, I'll confirm that for you. But if you look at our numbers, how many people do we follow? We follow 458 people. That means the people that clicked follow, 6,373, really clicked follow. They didn't follow because we followed them, because we're following much less people. They actually connected with our brand. They like what we write, they like what we offer, they like that we're responding to people, and we use Twitter for various different goals. Just for example, with the payments, right? So, Twitter is real time. So developers like to take advantage of that, unfortunately for me. But bottom line is, we're getting a lot of, and it's unheard of no matter how annoying it gets, that I don't answer someone in real time. For good or for bad, we can debate that. But the bottom line is, I can tell you endless examples. I'll give you one example that happened last week. Talk about, social media and ROI and customer acquisition. Last week, someone tweeted publicly, should I use Interactive or should I use one of our competitors? And I could have jumped in and said, use us, we're the greatest. What did I do? As Interactive, when I say I mean, what did we do? We replied, is it really a question? Smiley face, right? What did they respond? Not anymore. And I said, great to have you on board. We just acquired a customer in 2 seconds. Okay, that's just an example, but with payments, again, some of them are long-tail developers that haven't even reached the $200 threshold, but it's unheard of that I don't respond. If you open up a Twitter account right now, actually, and last night, one of our developers is like $150 of payments that he's waiting for, and I said, $200 threshold, but he doesn't understand. It's some Indian guy. He doesn't understand English very well. But we had it ongoing. I'm there. I'm answering him. We had a good 5-minute ping pong. At the end, he understood. And by the way, I think it was last week. Someone said, you know, Interactive didn't pay me. They were super angry, bold, and caps locking. And I responded right away. 2 minutes later, he responded with a smiley face because I responded. And that's Twitter. It's very, very effective for converting someone not only from a hater into a customer, but also to an ambassador, something that traditional marketing cannot achieve. It creates this brand loyalty, this, wow, I love this brand. They are super cool. They just responded to me like that in 2 seconds. I'm some nobody with 2 followers, and they have over 6,000, and there's big mobile advertising company, and they're responding to me when I need them to, which is, it's effective. And so we use it for customer support. We use it for sometimes technical questions. If something I can handle, if not, I'll pass it on to support. But it's real time, and developers love that. So we've seen great success on Twitter, and we're going to continue with that. Facebook. Our strategy on Facebook, like I said, is thought leadership. What does that mean? Again, you see all these people. I'm sure this. How many people here have gotten a question or a request on Facebook? Please like my page. Right?
Got from Roy.
From anyone. Please like my page, right? It always happens, right? That's just bad marketing. Don't ask me to like you. I'll like you if I like you, right? On Facebook, we're not about asking for likes. We're not about, we're about giving value on the one hand, right? We spread our content, we spread other content, but more importantly, it's about, you want to know what Interactive's really about? You want to know what our DNA is? Come look at our Facebook page, right? We're about great food, we're about hard work, we're about pool parties, we're about enjoying work, we're about, many people have said to us about the food, and your place looks like the most amazing place on earth to work. Are you guys hiring? Literally, people have asked me. I literally sent CVs. Honestly, I've sent CVs from people who just saw our Facebook page and said, I want to apply to work there because of your Facebook page. Again, it's thought leadership. We're a cool company to work, right? Everyone says, Google's the coolest place. Why is that? Yeah, it's because they have a slide in their office. Honestly, it is. It sounds funny, but it's a cool place to work. And Interactive, like Ziv and Itai were saying before, people come here, they love the vibe, and people who can't come here see the vibe on Facebook, and they love it. People love it. Whenever we have food, I take pictures and everyone laughs and it's cute. But you know what? It does the job. It helps spread the vibe. Explain to people what we're really about. People do think that. Do you think besides eat? No, really. They see the results. By the way, just a quick graph, a snapshot of our Facebook, right? It's slowly always going up, and by the way, these spikes that you're seeing, just taking peaks and spikes. Anyway, we shared a great picture, a cute picture, good content. Every time we share something, we see nice spikes in it. It does the job at the end of the day. It's not about the amount of likes. I have to emphasize that. I cannot emphasize that enough, right? Too many companies think, and I'll tell you something else. On a personal level, I don't even think there's any correlation between the success of a Facebook page and the amount of likes. I will show you endless companies that have 300,000 likes on their page and have 2 comments on their posts. I don't know how they do it. They buy likes. They do whatever they do. It doesn't matter. If 50 people liked your page, genuinely liked your brand, they liked your page, it is 100 times more valuable than 50 million people like it, and they have no idea who you are. They don't read your content. They have no connection to your company. And so the bottom line is we have a nice amount of likes. Don't get me wrong, but that's way less important than the type of engagement and the emotional connection that our fans feel towards Interactive. LinkedIn, I guess everyone's familiar. It's a killer tool for so many reasons. Many people use it for professional connections or for networking. We use it. We partake in discussions there. We spread our content there, not in a spammy way, but again in a valuable way. And we've seen great results on LinkedIn. There's a lot more to be done with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is somewhat of a secret weapon when it comes to branding. People again think of it as a networking tool, but it's really actually an amazing tool to drive traffic and to partake in discussions with other leading entities in your space. So we're beefing it up.
By the way, those emails I send you when I say, okay, today we are all marketing. So we don't expect you to use your Facebook to share information and stuff about Interactive because we appreciate it's a private thing. But LinkedIn is purely professional. And the more you'll use LinkedIn to advocate, evangelize, talk about Interactive and what we do here, the more we'll gain from it as a company, and the more you'll gain from it as a professional, because this is how you create your professional profile on LinkedIn. So use it on every time we have something on LinkedIn, share it. It will do wonders to all of us.
And let me add to that. In the Army, when you leave the base, they tell you to tuck your shirt in and make sure your pants are in. LinkedIn is like our face to the world, right? If you have an unprofessional profile, that's bad, especially if you're somewhat, senior in the company. It's very important to represent. One of the things that I found to be very effective on LinkedIn, just on a personal basis, I think you should all leverage it, is recommendations, not endorsements, recommendations. It's a little bit awkward to say to someone, can you recommend me? But it's built in, it's integrated into LinkedIn, so it's a little bit less awkward. And I think that when someone comes to your profile on LinkedIn and sees that you've been recommended by 100 people, or 50 people, or 20 people that voted, a heartfelt, real recommendation, genuine, not some stupid, the real thing. I work with him, he's truly professional, he XYZ. It's very, very effective. And
It's
so,
a very strong tool, and I recommend all of us to update. By the way, I asked Ilan last week, I think it was 2 weeks ago, asked him to update also the LinkedIn, and we went, and I know the LinkedIn very well, for several years I did that they exist, and I found out that there are a lot of things that are not really aware to. People are paying a lot of money, by the way, to go to some professionals to update the LinkedIn or to use it wisely. You have Ilan in the company, which costs us a lot, by the way. And as you know, you can use it, seriously, you can use it. You go over to LinkedIn to see that it's professional, to see that you are using it right, and you will do it with a lot of love, I believe, especially if you're coming between 8 and 4. So,
comedian as a CEO.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday only.
Not between noon and 2 o'clock.
Yeah. But it really is a secret weapon like this.
You can find
In James.
It's an amazing
Then in
tool.
James, yeah.
It's real, honestly, jokes aside,
if you want something more professional, take it to some steak.
honestly though, jokes aside, Twitter is great, Facebook's great. LinkedIn is a secret weapon that most people do not realize how, you can see who saw your profile. The sky's the limit to what LinkedIn can do for you professionally, for us professionally. So it's important, if you're not going to, even if you're not on there every day, and you should be, but, update your profile. Make sure it's accurate, it's who you are, right? Make sure it looks good to the outside. Sometimes you can click view your profile as someone else would see it. Go in there and see what it looks like. It's important, really, really important. It makes the company look bad as a whole. And just, if anyone doesn't know, when there are strategic partnerships or acquisition talks or whatever it is, the first thing that these companies do is they go to your LinkedIn. First thing they do. Before they come meet you, they look at your LinkedIn. And if our LinkedIn is not updated, it's a problem. So you should all take that seriously. And again, I'm here if you want to do it. I have to sit with you on it because I have access to your LinkedIn and show you, or I'll do it for you, but I have to do it with you. I can't do it for you. Landscape, another tool. Everyone's familiar?
Yeah.
So I don't need to talk about it too much, but what some
Everyone knows the
I know.
landscape value.
Okay. Surveys, something we've recently started. Again, it's more about listening than talking, right? Asking our developers what they think about XYZ, how XYZ can improve, what's missing about it, what they would like to see, whatever it is. It's a tool for listening, and we've taken our surveys to a good place of taking that content, taking the answers, analyzing them, and then releasing it to the public and saying, look, developers as a whole have not yet adopted mobile video. Developers as a whole in 2014 intend on adopting mobile video. That was the last survey we did. And it's a great tool externally, and it's a great tool internally to speak to your developers and to form communication channel and to build a relationship. Again, thought leadership.
Pretty good.
Our kick-ass designer over here did something actually unbelievable for the company. Created this brand book on Z that you have to go take a look at, and more than take a look at, you have to use. If we're going to be communicating to the world and we're going to be telling our story, we need to do it in a unified fashion. We need to say the same things. We need to look the same way. We can't be using different fonts and different colors, right? There's templates, there's ways things should look, whether it's the signature or the business cards or whatever it is. So our brand book, our language to the world, our visual language, is all on Z. Use it, please. Thank you. Mentoring, we're summing up, but basically, again, giving, right? Giving back. So, there's a nice picture shot yesterday by Shirel, I think. A lot of the people in this company, Maor is not in this picture, but Maor is also. I literally sat with someone yesterday that said Maor mentored, and she said to me, "I miss that guy. He is so awesome." I'm not kidding, honestly. People really, really value if you have an expertise in something. I send Maor like 100 emails a day from people who want to know about the whole advertising world and the whole monetization world, and they love it, right? And it's not about taking, it's about giving, right? You give back. First of all, it's karma, right? But more importantly, it's about building, Interactive is a leader, it's an authority in this space. You want to know about monetization, speak to us, right? And we'll help you, whether, it's Itai or Ziv, right? Mentoring is very, very important, and it's just giving, right? Giving back to the world, passing it up, paying it forward. So we've done that again as a strategic decision. That's all, folks. You have any questions? Come on, some of you traditional marketers want to know. It's all fluff. Yeah.
Then you talked here a lot about the media coverage that Interactive have in the mobile industry and all the websites, and all that. And I'd like to ask you, how do you explain that once we talk with the premium
Yeah, when we speak to premium, they didn't hear of us.
Yeah, and once we speak with the premium big publishers, they never heard about us. They told us that they know HeadMob, they know MoPub, they know.
I'll tell you why, because AdMob is Google, right? So they don't need to build their thought leadership. They are a thought leader because they're Google. They have it integrated, built in. They have a shortcut. For us, it's not as easy because we're here. Well, we're not here anymore. Now we're global, but this is exactly what we're trying to solve with this. It's a good question, and it's a pain point, and it's a problem for every startup, by the way. It's a problem. You're a startup. You're not Google. You're not Millennial Media. You're not worth billions and billions of dollars yet. But we're trying to solve that. So I mean,
It's not just AdMob.
I'm saying there are some leading names.
I think he asked something differently, and I think the answer should be something else. I think the fact that what Ilan is trying to describe it Interactive, because we're in Israel, we're doing a lot of noise outside of Israel. For American companies, American-based companies, all the marketing is different. It's totally different, like mobile that you mentioned. They are US-based company. They cross the street and they see mobile logo, like you're going in Tel Aviv or you see other companies. So what he's trying to show that although we're in Israel and we can Tikva specifically, we're doing a lot of noise, and yes, it's still not like to be American-based company, no matter what. So that's the difference I think Ilan is trying to show, and not to say we're doing amazing marketing and all the market knows us now. No, he's trying to say that although